Continuing with this Swami Vivekanand life and teachings, we have reached to chapter 5, and the heading is Naren meets Sri Ramakrishna. Naren was interested in religion, but he had lost faith in many of teachings of Hinduism. He did not know what to believe. He had gone to many religious people, but they could not help him. One day he decided to visit Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was a great Hindu saint. He came from a village called Kamarpukur in the Hooghly district. At that time, he was living at the Kali temple of Dakshineshwar near Calcutta. He lived a life of prayer and meditation and thought always of God. Many people came to him and he solved their spiritual problems. Naren had heard about Sri Ramakrishna from his teacher, Professor Hasty, and from one of his relatives. He had also seen him at the house of this relative in Calcutta. Now he decided to visit him at Dakshineshwar to see whether Sri Ramakrishna could help him in any way. Naren took a few friends with him. Sri Ramakrishna received them kindly and Naren sang 2 songs at his request. Then Sri Ramakrishna took him into another room. He treated Naren as if he were a dear friend who had just returned from a long journey. He even wept for joy and fed Naren with sweets with his own hands. Naren could not understand all this. He thought that perhaps Sri Ramakrishna was a madman, but he promised to come again. When they returned to the other room, Sri Ramakrishna began to speak about God. He said that we can see and speak to God just as we can see and speak to our friends. Naren did not know what to think. Sri Ramakrishna had acted in a strange way, but he also seemed to be a great saint. About a month later, Naren came again, this time alone. Sri Ramakrishna treated him kindly and asked him to sit by his side. Then he touched Naren. At this touch, Naren had a strange experience. The walls and the room seemed to whirl round, and then vanish. He thought that he was about to die. He became frightened. He cried out, "What is this that you are doing to me? I have my parents at home." Sri Ramakrishna laughed and began to stroke Naren's chest. He said, "All right, let it rest now. Everything will be fine and everything will come in time." At his touch, the strange experience was gone and Naren found everything the same as it had been before. A similar thing happened when Naren visited Sri Ramakrishna for the third time. He again lost consciousness at the touch of Sri Ramakrishna. He could not understand what happened. He had a strong body and mind, but the saint could do with him whatever he liked by a mere touch. He could not explain how it happened. However, he understood that Sri Ramakrishna was no ordinary person. He was no ordinary person. He came to have deep respect for him, though there were still many unanswered questions in his mind. So, finishing with this, we'll be heading towards chapter 6, The Master and the Disciple. Thank you.